what are you doing to help bring down the violent crime rate in Chicago? What are you going to say?
So we will say to them, and we'll say to you first because you asked it first. We have created what we've called the Gun Crime Strategies Task Force that we hope to build out into a unit. And that is a collaborative partnership that we have with the Chicago Police Department, as well as the FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals. Early in my tenure, I met with Superintendent Johnson, then U.S. Attorney Zach Farden, and the special agents in charge of all of the federal partners, and talked about how we could work collaboratively to deal with the violence in the communities. What we did was hone in on two of our high violence areas in the 7th and 11th Police District. And there had been some existing work that was being done there before, but we said, how do we up the ante? How do we put more skin into the game? So what we did was we brought 3 of our senior attorneys to bear. They will be embedded in the police districts of 7 and 11 to help with the investigations of strategically identified targets who we believe are causing the most violence, and working on the ground and building investigations. Part of the frustration that I think our partners in law enforcement have felt is that they would build cases, the cases would come to us and then they would be rejected. Or they would build cases and they take them to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office said, those are state cases. So we said, all right, U.S. Attorney's Office, you put some folks on this as well, we'll put our folks. So we have federal and state prosecutors on these cases, working with all of those partners so that we can decide early on what's going federal, what's going state. Then, from our vantage point, the assistants who are working to build up those cases will then vertically prosecute those cases. So they have them from beginning to end. And that...
I mean, the same assistant who's going to be at that police station that night is going to also be prosecuting the case?
That's right. And we looked at models out of New York and San Francisco and their crime strategies units, and they've seen tremendous amounts of success using data, using those partnerships, trying to have a plan, a targeted plan. It's a small number of people who are driving the violence. We hear that all the time. Even if it's 1,200 people, 1,200 people is a lot of people. So we're trying to drill down to who are our top targets. And having those assistants follow those cases through vertical prosecution means that investment early on, the report up to my first assistant and chief deputy and the head of our special prosecutions unit, and the report back ensures that those cases are being moved on. And we do want our best and brightest doing this work. And yes, it will sometimes be tedious sitting in police districts, but that's what's required given what's happening out there. But we also want to, what other offices have been able to do is, as Katie said, build out on that. We have some of these folks who are on this list who may come through our child support unit, and our child support unit has no idea who that person is because we're not sharing that information. They may come through traffic, and we can pull the reports of who were they pulled over with, for a case that no one's even thinking about. Well, look, when they were pulled over on this day, they were with this other target. That's what other offices, when they talk about being data-driven, do. It's not just collecting stats. It's communicating within the office to make sure that we have the best, richest information so that when we are targeting folks, those cases stick and have an impact. And to Eric's point, the word starts to spread when you hear that there are groups of people who have targeted. That's why we started with just 2 units. We just started with the 2 highest violence-prone police districts because we want to be able to see that we can have an impact. But we want to certainly build it out and broaden it. But I don't think we would ever be as successful if we did not have the partnerships with the U.S. Attorney's Office, CPD, and our partners in the feds.